Hello and welcome. We are at Columbia Pictures in Motiongate, that is located in Dubai Parks and Resorts. Right, got that introduction out of the way. Hopefully everybody's okay. So we're going to take a tour around Columbia Pictures. It's a bit of a random mix in this land. It's a nice loop, but there's all sorts of different bits and pieces. You've got Ghostbusters right beside the Green Hornet, then it loops it round. You've got a Zomieland section at the back, and it's all a little bit bizarre, this one, but there's some half decent rides in there. But again, it's absolutely empty, but it is what it is. So we'll make the most of this. So again, we're going to see this during the day and at the night. After this is the day tour. The night tour is very, very impressive because it's all lit up. And just like we've done in the previous ones, I'm going to add certain queue lines into the day, and I'm going to add certain queue lines into the night. Otherwise, the video would have been about 40 minutes long. And the Ghostbuster one, because the Ghostbuster queue itself is so long, that's going to have its own separate video as well, because it's got an extremely impressive queue line. But when you see the building, you'll understand what I mean. So we just go past a general store, and the first thing we see this track here is the Green Hornet. Now this was supposed to have all sorts of theming around the outside of the track. They didn't end up doing anything like that. They just had the theming on the inside of this building, and then it was just like a basic mouse ride, and then just come basically straight back off again. But we'll go around the park, see what everything there is to offer. We'll keep everything on the right hand side, then we'll just loop round. But you'll come into the Green Hornet first, and then we loop it back around, come back out of a shop, which is really, really bizarre because they still love all their arcade game machines and everything this way. So it's still a very, very popular area for all the pay-to-plays. A lot of these have been taken out in a lot of the UK parks, or they don't tend to have just like a random arcade that you just walk through to come back out again. But again, it is what it is. So we'll turn around, we'll get back out here, and then we'll start heading down towards the Green Hornet queue line. And you will not notice whatsoever that the camera changes and it's actually a night time. I end up coming back and filming the queue line of this, but again, got to do what we've got to do. So first thing we see is the Green Hornet, and then we'll walk round in front to the calf, and then to the left hand side will be the Ghostbuster. But this was one of the first times I actually filmed in the 4K mode on the Sony camera. I think it came out quite crisp. That is the reason why I am actually walking really, really slow compared to the GoPro, because it has such a horrific bounce and a jolt. But I thought, well, give it a go. The video probably could have been 10 minutes long if I walked around normal speed, but it's nice to soak it all in and have a look at all the buildings and everything. And again, with nobody here, we have the advantage of just sort of being able to get on everything, film all the queue lines and things with nobody in front. So this is actually now going to turn into a completely different day at night time, and it's actually now on my phone, not that you'd ever notice. And then we can just loop round. But the queue lines are very, very long for all the queues. But the reason why I filmed this on my phone is because it's actually really, really dark in the next section, and the camera that I was filming on wouldn't pick up the car. So I don't know what settings I got wrong on the camera, but the mobile phone came in to save the day on a completely different day. But as we're about to turn around, if you've seen the Green Hornet, let me know. Never seen it, never ever seen it, no idea what it's about, but there's a rather impressive car just there, and I'm guessing it's just either going to be a movie prop or it's just a replica. But yeah, I watched it back on the actual camera and you couldn't see it because it looks like there's loads and loads of lights, but the lights were turned down quite a lot. So, but the queue line, it zigzags really far out, and then it zigzags loads here, and then you literally go up the stairs and then you're on the little ride. The ride itself is only about a minute and a bit long. And that's it. That's all you're going to get from that queue line, because I didn't want to go any further, otherwise I had to get on the actual ride itself. So spun around, came back down, and now we have the calf from the Ghostbuster. Wasn't open at this point of the day, but again, it's one of those where they open everything staggered and they start to open up everything later on in the evening. So in the evening video, you will see that all lit up on the outside because the Slimer light lights up, which is pretty cool. And then there's a couple of people in there having the milkshakes and different bits and pieces like that. But as we pan out and go left, you'll actually see the Ghostbuster Firehouse, and the scale of this thing is absolutely massive. But bizarrely, you do everything on the ground level. You don't really go up any staircases or anything. So it's a bit of a bizarre layout. There's a lot of almost wasted space in this, because it'd be nice if it was like a different sort of thing. But it ends up being a shooter ride, the one with the gun, and it works about 50% of the time. It's one of those where you pull the trigger and it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But it's still, the theming is unbelievably impressive. Now, the one thing I will say, as I've turned the music down loads, all they were playing for some reason was the Ghostbuster theme tune on loop on the outside. And the one thing I will say, which I don't know why they were doing it, is it was staggered at different points of the park to the speakers. So it would start, and then you'll get caught around the park, and then it would start again. It wasn't in sync, so I don't think they had their audio linked up together. So I've basically taken the audio off completely, and I've increased the audio of the voiceover so you don't hear any of it for copyright reasons. But it was also just non-stop for the whole time that I was in the park. I get off the ride and the music would just start again. But again, if they're having problems, they're having problems. Have you been here before? If you have, let me know what your favourite section is of this land that we're currently in, and any of the other lands as well, because there's other videos available in this playlist, which you've got the Smurf Village, and then you've got all the bits and other pieces from, obviously, the other licenses through Motiongate, DreamWorks. You've got the Hunger Games, the John Wick bit, and so on and so forth, which is the Lionsgate section. So let me know what your favourite section is within this. I personally think the best two themed for me would be the Ghostbuster Firehouse, but I think it looks spectacular on the outside, even though I find it's really bizarre directly beside the Green Hornet. I wish it was almost like the Ghostbuster section was bigger and they had the Green Hornet and the Ghostbusters all as Ghostbusters, and the Green Hornet was either somewhere else, because this castle is absolutely enormous and all the theming is within its walls. And it just looks like it's its own thing, so you can walk in it and you can walk back out of it. But it's just quite bizarre that you've got the nice size Ghostbusters with the cafe and the shop either side, but then literally the war carries on from the cafe, and you've got the Green Hornet. So I would have liked the Green Hornet basically not to have been there, and it just extended for the Ghostbusters as a theming point of view. Even though it's quite nice to have both rides quite close together, because it's just easy to get on and off. Talking of theming, I think the other amazing thing is how they've done the Zomieland, because I was saying before about how they've done a lot of pay-to-play games, but obviously in the film there was a lot of stalls and pay-to-plays up to the ride that they had, where they had the final bit of Zomieland, which you are about to see in a second, which is Blast Off. That I thought was done incredibly well, but everything you're seeing now is all a ride and a shop. So all this theming on the outside is just one thing on a massive scale. This will become available in the evening tour, and also I might upload it as a separate video, a bit like the Ghostbusters queue line, because it is just so long. But I have managed to film the ride as well, so everybody was filming the rides on the phone, so I just did the same thing, and that will be uploaded potentially just as a completely separate video where we can get the queue line in, which is extremely impressive. And then you'll have the ride to have a look at as well. But it goes all the way through and down, so the ride and everything is to the left-hand side. It has its own massive restaurant as well, so they've got loads and loads of eateries here. That's another big restaurant just here. Bearing in mind this is directly beside the Ghostbuster restaurant as well, so there are more restaurants located. So maybe this is the main eateries of the park, because I did say in one of the other videos that there wasn't that many places to eat within the Lionsgate section. So they've obviously got it all in the Columbia Pictures bit. So everything to the right-hand side, including the toilets, is still themed as the castle. But now to the left-hand side, where you've got the pay-to-plays, you come over to Blast Off, which is this very, very quick ride, where obviously you go up to the top, it hovers you up at the top, and then it drops you down. But it actually takes off from the bottom, and then it drops you back down again both ways. So it's slightly different to your normal one. But I will let you watch this for a sec. It definitely feels a lot quicker than it looks. It is one of those where it just sort of, you hold on because you just feel like you're free falling, which is obviously the whole point of that ride. But the inside of this theming, which we are going to look at, I thought was absolutely spectacular. So if you're a little bit squeamish, nothing jumps out at you, so do not panic whatsoever. It is just the same theming from Zomieland, which is a little bit weird considering we are where we are. But you know, it's also the same as, it's a bit bizarre that they have the Now You See Me ride, which is a casino, and I do believe they don't allow gambling over in Dubai. But again, maybe it's slightly different rules because it's on a resort. But I can't see that being of accidentally falling through the net. But yeah, so we are about to go into the Zomieland bit. See if you can find your Twinkie. See if you can find all the little hidden Easter eggs that they've got within here. Now, luckily, we managed to get a good amount of the queue line filmed, absolutely fine. I did manage to get some Easter eggs in as well. The music is unbelievably loud. but like I said, I've turned it right down so you can still get a bit of atmosphere, but there is no way you would have heard a single thing that I was going to say. You would not have wanted to have been stuck in a queue with the noise that was going on with the speakers, but there is blood splatter absolutely everywhere, and they have all sorts of hidden Easter eggs within the queue lines and up on the walls, and it's just been completely taken over with all the zombie stuff. So it's how the end of the film finished, and I thought it was very, very risky and very, very impressive as well with regards to all the different bits and pieces you could see. Again, like everything else, the queue lines are absolutely massive. See if there's anything you can spot, anything at all. I did actually do this a couple of times, so I managed to get different bits of queue lines at different times. So if it was rushed a little bit the first time, it will then slow back down again in the evening tour, just because there was nobody about. But you can see the blood splatters all up on the ceiling, and then it goes into another room, because it's like you go through different queue barriers to different sections, and the last section you go through, it has a vending machine, and that is where they have all the rules and everything written on the wall. But somebody must have had some good fun developing all of this and sort of getting a bit creative. It's the only place I've ever seen anything like this. If you know of another one that's about and it's got the same theming, let me know where that is located in the world. Because I would like to visit the other theme parks. But that is the vending machine that had something smashed straight into it with the Twinkies in there. That's a teddy bear that they tried to where they were fighting from. That's all your rules of survival. I think there's what 30 or 50 rules or whatever on there. The only thing is, because it was so quiet, what they should have done is you go from one bit to that section, you stay in that section to get split up from the queue line, then you go onto the ride. But because there was nobody about, you just got spat through really quickly. So even though you're going from little bit to little bit, it was quite difficult to film everything. But I'm sure there's more to come in the evening tour, so you have to keep your eyeballs peeled for that. So as the doors close, we would pan and turn left, and we'll start walking through what would be the front to Zomieland if we came through from the other side. And you have all these pay-to-plays. So for reference, the left-hand side where those toilets are, that is still the castle theming. So that is absolutely enormous. So like I was saying before, this is huge. The Zombieland's massive. It would have been nice, again, if the Ghostbuster bit was a little bit bigger and they had maybe the Marshmallow Man or something else from there. Because the theming on the outside of the Green Hornet, it's a nice building, but the track itself is just a little bit boring to look at even at night, because it's just lit up green. But to leave the queue line, which you will see in the evening video, that does look cool because you walk underneath the track. So, but again, it's all budgets and everything like that. It's all well and good. I was saying, oh, it would be nice if they did this and this and this, but the amount of millions that they would have spent, it would have been a little bit scary. But that is, it doesn't look very big, does it? The queue line and everything for that with the tower. It doesn't look like it goes back as far as it does with regards to the queue line. Again, reference, that is still the toilet block and everything. That was where you're supposed to get all your water and everything from. You weren't able to. You had to buy all your water. They had turned all the water bits and pieces off again for the COVID regs. Then I don't recognise this Happy Chappy, and I did not recognise this. I think Vampire World or something. Well, this is another theatre, and I'm not 100. I didn't go in there because again, it's just on a show schedule. Is it? Oh, it's Underworld. Sorry. So this was the. I don't recognise the name Underworld. I could have a Google right now, but I'm not going to. So yeah, if you know what that is, let me know. Unless that's like the vampire-y thing that I think it might be ringing a bell. Underworld. I think I might have actually seen the film, but again, I'm not going to stop this and have a Google. We now walk round over to the river rapids. This was impressive, and this was, in all fairness, this was the only river rapids where you have a very, very high percentage of getting absolutely drenched, which is perfect because obviously you're in Dubai and it's a river rapids. But it is also the only ride where you cannot put your bag and phone and stuff somewhere. So if you take anything on the ride with you, you got a 50-50 chance of getting off and your t-shirts see-through and absolutely soaking wet, which is no problem whatsoever. But everybody was sort of putting their t-shirt over their backpacks and their phones and stuff so they didn't get wet, which I didn't understand. I don't know if you should have been able to and they've taken it away for COVID, or it's just sort of an oversight and they've not thought about it. But, you know, again, it is what it is. That seems to be the the word of the day in this video. It is what it is, but you can see it's quite violent, which is nice and fun, and there's loads and loads of things that drop on you and it spits water out at you, and you've just got, depending on how you spin, you are going to get absolutely soaked from literally the first corner all the way around. This ride is actually pretty long, which is nice and impressive, because some of the river rapids you go on before in the past, or I've been on, are very sort of tame, just bounce off the wall, nothing happens. They've turned it all down for accident reasons and things like that. They just don't get you. They just don't get you wet. Whereas this one, it does the trick, which is nice. But again, we're going to loop around. We're going to walk over the little bridge. We'll have a look at the left-hand side, which will be a better look at the Ghostbuster Firehouse and the Green Hornet. And then from where we are, you'll actually see the scale of the Ghostbuster Firehouse, because it is ridiculously tall. And don't forget, they have the shop on the left-hand side, and then they've got the restaurant on the right-hand side. But I still think it would have been quite nice if they had extended it a little bit more and maybe added New York in. That was on the end of the film of the Ghostbuster bit, because inside the Ghostbuster Firehouse, you actually redid the very end of the film, because of the laser shoot bit that they do right at the very, very end of the film. If you've not seen the original Ghostbusters, then go and watch it and you understand what I mean. But this bit I thought was very, very pretty, and it is stunning at night, how you walk up and over the water. But again, Green Hornet, Ghostbusters, and then you've got the huge vampire castle, blast off, underworld, and then you've got the river rapids to the right hand side, and then that wraps around into a completely different thing, which is the Smurf village. So there's 5 or 6 rides in this one. So if there's something that you've seen, you know, hopefully maybe you'd be looking forward to going there. But there isn't a main roller coaster here. Like the Green Hornet, it's just a basic thing. The quickest rides obviously blast off. You've got one quick one, one wet one shooter one, and then you've got the Green Hornet is sort of the more tame one. But just be careful of this one, because you are going to get wet and your stuff will get soaked. And obviously you can't put your bag on the base of the boat that you sat in, because that's soaking wet as well, so you're going to have to keep that on your lap. So you're going to have to be a bit creative with that. There might have been lockers, which I think there could have been on the way in on the left-hand side. But like I've said in previous videos, they were all blocked off. So maybe they was opportunity to get your stuff covered, and you just couldn't do it anymore. But we're now going into the queue line of this, which is terrifyingly huge. I would dread to think how long you'd be queuing for. You'll see what I mean in a second, with just the scale of everything. And if you have been here before and it's in peak season, are the queues as big as what they try and make it out to be? Because I found out some figures and facts by putting these videos together, that in the previous couple of years, this park has actually run at a loss. It is now starting to make traction again now, but at one point they were only getting like 1,500 visitors a day. But that is spread across all the parks, so that's not just per park. So that is scary numbers, because there was nobody here at all when I was there. I did this whole loop, and if you were playing Count the People, I got on every ride. I didn't share a ride with anybody at all. Obviously it was ideal for me, because I just did the full loop, and then I went back again, and then got on the rides, and job was a good one. But at the same time, they had far too many security there. I don't know why there were so many security guards. And when I went back in the evening on the same day, there was even more security there, and there was still nobody there. So I don't know. That was the only thing that I'd say that felt a little bit uncomfortable, just with the volume of security walking around, like you've been watched all the time. They're only doing their job and everything, but it just feels like there's too many of them. But maybe they're expecting a rush, because in all fairness, the following day it did get busy. So maybe it was just bad timing on my part. But if you've been to an area like that before, and you're walking around by yourself and you feel like you've been watched, it can make it a little bit uncomfortable. But again, it is what it is. Let's just see how many times we can say it is what it is. But the theming of this I thought was very impressive again, but it's terrifyingly length of the queue line. But that is it, guys. I think I'm going to wrap it up here. So if you could like and subscribe and all that good stuff, that'd be absolutely fantastic. That's the most amount of people that I saw in the boats. There's nobody in front of me, so I don't lie, I shared it with 2 other people, which was nice. So this is where everybody was in the whole park. It was so hot, I think everybody was just here trying to cool off. But yeah, if you can like and subscribe and all that good stuff, that'd be absolutely fantastic. But guys, as always, thank you very much for watching. You guys take care, and I hope to catch you in the next one. Ta-da.